This theme of cards not getting reprinted within the Albaz strategy is kind of crazy. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. So it appears that Despia Queritus has been starting to shake around in the trees a little bit because he didn't get reprinted, which means more and more people are wanting to pick us up. This is what happened to Albion and the rest of the squad earlier in the week, where these cards suddenly shot in price. Now, Queritus is a little bit more extra in the DLC department. You know, you're gonna have options and things to kind of challenge around. Now, obviously, the lowest listings right now are $1 to $2. Same thing down here with the Dawn and the Majesty version. So we're not going too crazy on this, but you can see, you know, your sales in the last 2 days have been very, very, very spectacular. So if you are somebody that's keeping an eye on the Albaz train, you already know what's happening. This one is beyond my expectations, honestly. The Dogmatika Matrix. This is the one that on activation gives you a ritual monster with Dogmatika or a ritual spell from the deck with Dogmatika. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you get to add a Dogmatika monster from your deck to your hand. And if you control a Dogmatika ritual monster, you can look at either player's extract and send a card from it to the graveyard. Now, you can only activate one of these once per turn, but this gives you free access to drop down a Herald if your opponent has a monster, and congratulations, you know, you're suddenly getting some extra searching here as well. But this card was 80 cents, and now suddenly this card has spiked up to one of the craziest thresholds I've seen. It's not even that people are going crazy with this, it's just people are realizing, hey, I can play this and actually have some consistency added into my strategy. Also, it's a super rare that's never been reprinted. Golly gee, thanks, Konami. I appreciate you some days. This one should make all of the sense in the world, because there's a nice line of text on this that says you cannot summon monsters. All right, that's it. All right, you can't do anything. Now, obviously, you can only control one of these, and basically, this little guy is acting as a floodgate. Now, suddenly you come down here, you're like, oh, $1.49, $2. You know, you're spiking up from 70 cents. I mean, you've effectively doubled in price. Once again, you're going to notice the same thing that's been happening here. This Fallen of Albaz hype has grabbed hold of another card. Now, luckily, for the time being, this was a QCR from the tins. This was pretty available for, you know, most of the player base to get their hands on. And honestly, seeing cards doubling up in price, we're not exactly too much of strangers to this. Now, I talked about this yesterday in the What in the World Happened Here video. The 4 alt arts have started to get a little bit rambunctious in the market. What do I mean by that? $62. Or, yeah, 62, 62.50, 65. Suddenly you hit $70, on up to 80. Suddenly you're hitting 86, on up to 120. What has happened here is people have realized, oh, hey, I like Fallen of Albaz. I like the way that this deck plays. The Fallen and the Virtuous Spell card was a great addition to the deck. So now suddenly you got people rushing out here wanting to pick up the bling from, you know, cards that were, you know, $30 back in August. Same thing out here with a Luber Pooper. All right, a Luber, this card bottomed out at $28, which, to be fair, I mean, its current price jump isn't exactly the craziest. I mean, he's found himself at the $44 price point, which is not the end of the world, but just within the last couple of days, I mean, realistically, Luber's the slowest moving of the 3, just because, you know, he's a Luber, and he's not exactly the most loved of the bunch. Now, Incredible Ecclesia, this was the first one that we saw jump up, because we got that new Synchro monster. When people realized, oh, hey, you know, this deck got massively more consistent, people started to go, oh, hey, you know, there's some worth to this. That's where you're seeing $65 a copy now, and you've been holding for this for several days. Obviously, The sales have slowed down a little bit on this from the initial hype, but this ends up being a 1 to 2 of within the deck building sphere, which is good. Mommy here, on the other hand, has continued to reap her destruction across the market. Core TCG has one cheap listing at $90, and then you're up at $112. Holy crap, man. That is so crazy to think about here. You're seeing 115, 100, 105, 99, 115. This card actually has broken the $115 barrier. And I didn't expect it, but the art looks gorgeous. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players absolutely love seeing their waifus. You know, all 4 of the big arts, they've done their job. Dragon Tail super rares. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. 31 listings is a little bit low for Pan. If you kind of notice here, you've had a little bit of an attack. I mean, looks like we spun up to $1 and then we kind of receded back down. Looks like you have a couple of cheap listings here and then you spike back up into the $1 range for these. Realistically, looks like your biggest sale's been in the last like 2 days just for quantities. And then of course, Urgurla, 55 listings with 296. That's crazy. Are we in the same doghouse here with these flipping around on the market? I can't imagine that we are. Yeah, once again, in the last like 2 days, these cards have been really spiking up and down. It's very, very interesting just to think about how, you know, we look at these cards and we're like, hey, you know, these are, you know, much needed cards, but we get to see the impact of super rares actually doing their thing here. I actually want to pull up Garden Rose Maiden here since we did get the reprint for this. Looks like your QCR is down to $60. Wasn't this card just like held up on a pedestal recently as one of the more expensive cards? Oh god, ultras are $31. Looks like the secrets actually came down a little bit, $21. I would assume as we kind of progress along the way here, we'll see more of a drop in this card, but that's interesting. Secretarian Dragon, first of all, $84 for the Starlight's not that crazy, but down here, you got 17 listings of this bad boy in this department, and then you spike up to $12, which is freaking crazy to think about because nobody wanted this card when it first hit the market. But it was like, oh my god, it's so garbage, I don't want this. And look at it today, everybody. You've got actual value in this. And once again, I mean, this is the mirror match stopper. You slam this down against Dragon Tail, your opponent is like, oh, that sucks. Oh, Black Rose Dragon, QCR Altar. Well, first of all, $11. But this is where things start to get interesting. 21 listings. Oh, okay. Well, actually, we have one cheap listing here. We spike up to 17. We go to 20. So, you know, for as much as people told me that they didn't like this Black Rose Altar and that it wasn't, you know, a really, really nice card, I'm more intrigued to see that it has been doing as well as it has. I don't know, something to think about. Psychic Overlord. Oh boy, select 3 psychic monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck and draw 2 cards. This card is absolutely awful. But for OG copies from Duelist Genesis, for Ultras, you're looking at $15 to $20 per copy in one, or for Ultimates. Isn't that crazy to think about years later? Mirror Force from Dark Beginnings to the haha funny section of cards. It looks like these are $18. Once again, I mean, you're dealing with off-the-wall rarities already as it is. So to see that, you know, something else is kind of popping up here, I don't know, that's kind of an interesting little nod. We also do get to see the Spriggans stuff. I talked about Spriggans yesterday, kind of picking up a little bit of steam in the OCG. Merrymaker's coming in, $2 after shipping. X-Blowers, dollars. Watch, a little bit of money. Kits are very, very cheap now. But just kind of as you can see here over time, this stuff gets very, very cheap in the deck building space. And I gotta give them a little bit of credit, man. I really do. This stuff actually is kind of coming together for a little bit of more affordability. So what do you guys think about today's market? Please, comment down below what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in day, guys. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.